What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch back here with another NFL record breakdown, NFL schedule analysis, this time for the Washington Redskins and their 2020 regular season schedule. The Redskins this year are going through a coaching change, are going through a little bit of a organizational revamp. And this year is going to be interesting because of the weird offseason we are about to have within the NFL. It's going to be difficult to determine how good the Skins are really going to be this year. And that's why I'm intrigued to look at this schedule and give them a record and ultimately watch this team come September. So before I do dive into their schedule and give them a 2020 regular season record, make sure that you do Gronk spike the like button, subscribe to the Bottom Line View for more NFL videos just like this, and comment below your opinion. What do you think the Skins, what do you think their record will be in 2020? Let me know in the comment section below. All right. Let's kick it off with week number 1. They play the Philadelphia Eagles, the rival in the NFC East. And this is a game that I just think, it will probably be very close. I think both of these teams, it's going to be a physical ball game. They're both physical teams. The Skins defensively especially are very strong up front, and I think they're going to challenge the Eagles' offensive line. And on the opposite side of the ball, the Eagles are really good up front as well. And, the Skins really kind of have an underrated offensive line and one that's really tough and is going to grind it out. So this is going to be a physical game in the NFC East, and this one is in Washington. Not sure if the fans are going to be there or not, but I think the Eagles will win. I just think the Eagles, it comes down to this. In week number 1 versus the Eagles are not going through a coaching change, going through all these different, systems and things. And Washington has a whole new coaching staff. And I think that's going to take a little bit of time, given that this offseason is a little different. It's not a traditional offseason. You're having to do things through Zoom and other ways. So I think that's going to hurt them come week 1. But I do think this will be a close physical matchup. Week 2, they play Arizona. This game's interesting. I think if Washington finds a way to challenge the offensive line of the Cardinals and really get some pressure on Kyler Murray to force some mistakes, then this could be a victory here. But I just think Kyler Murray is such a special talent that he's going to come out with a victory in this game. And then you play the Cleveland Browns in week 3. I think Cleveland, again, is a team that, man, they're really talented. I think they're just all around. They have a lot of really good skill position players, and their offensive line's really improved. I think that's going to help them versus Washington in this game. And defensively, they have some pass rushers like Myles Garrett who can overwhelm you. Plus, this game's on the road. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns. They play Baltimore in week 4. The Ravens are one of the best teams in the league and one of the few that can physically be just as dominant as Washington. So I'm going to take Baltimore. Week 5, I think they get their first win versus the Rams. I just think any team, I'm looking at the schedule for the Rams, any team that can overwhelm their offensive line has a chance to beat them. And I think that's the case, especially when the Rams have to go to somewhere like Washington, which is not the warm climate or the, environment that the Rams really thrive in offensively. And I think Jared Goff, he's kind of a sitting target back there. This is the game that I think Washington overwhelms an offensive line, and their defense just wins the game by themselves. Week 6, they play Washington plays the Giants. This is a rivalry game. I think they probably split with the Giants, whether you want to give it to them after they beat the Rams and then they lose after the bye week, or they win after the bye week and they lose to the Giants after they beat the Rams. Regardless, I think they split this season versus the Giants. I think the Giants, they probably have the better quarterback, the better offensive firepower, but defensively, Washington is a better team. So I think that kind of amounts to a split. Then week 7, they play Dallas. I actually have them losing both games versus Dallas, unfortunately. I think Dallas is one of the best teams in the NFC. They're immensely talented. They have a much better coaching staff, which will help them be consistent more often than not. Week 10, they play Detroit. This game will be interesting. I think Detroit is a much better team than people are giving them credit for. I think Detroit wins this game for one reason and one reason only: Matt Stafford. Week 11, they play the Bengals. I think Washington will beat the Bengals. I think the Bengals are a team that, yes, I think they're improved this offseason, but I think Washington is going to overwhelm this offensive line and win this game. I think every game that Washington wins, you can point to their defense overwhelming their opponent and winning the game. Week 13, that will not happen versus Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. Week 14, that will not happen versus San Francisco in San Francisco. Week 15, there's a chance that this game could be very close. But as Russell Wilson does, he will pull out magic out of his you-know-what and win the game. Week 16, they play Carolina. This is Ron Rivera revenge game. I will give them a win. And then week 17, they play Philly, and they will lose. So I have the Washington Redskins going 4-12, not 12-4. But I do believe that the Redskins are going to be in a lot of games because their defensive front is so dominant and so imposing. But I don't think that will actually lead to a lot of victories. I think there's a difference. I also look at the Redskins, and I think their offense is probably the least talented in the league on paper, and that is not going to amount to wins in the NFL today. So I think the Skins, if they can go through one more offseason with a high pick and a lot of good additions on offense, if I'm a Redskins fan, I'm looking to see if Haskins proves himself in some of these games and plays better than people expect. If he can do that, maybe this team wins up to 6 games, and maybe this team surprises some folks. But I will say this. All I'm looking for is for Haskins to look good. I don't think it needs to lead to victories. If they can get one more season with a high pick and one season of an off season where they can get some weapons for him and then help this defense with a pretty okay offense on the other side of things, then this team could be dangerous. But right now I look at Washington and I say, this team just doesn't have the offense to survive in the NFL right now and be a good team. So I don't care how good the front seven is at a certain point. They need to score points. So that's my opinion on the Skins. I have them going 4-12 in 2020, another rough one, but it's all leading to a better future. Peace.